The season has only just kicked off, yet the Las Vegas Raiders have already shaken the NFL to its core. A road win that stunned the league, heartbreak for the opposing fans, and even a wave of brutal criticism from a former coach, all packed into the very first week. And trust me, the details I've uncovered aren't something you'll find splashed across the mainstream headlines. Backhand index pointing right, but before we dive deeper into this breaking story, a quick reminder. If you live and breathe Raiders football and don't want to miss a single update, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and turn on the bell icon. That way, you'll always be first in line for the latest news. All right, let's get into it. The Pete Carroll era in Las Vegas is off to a fiery start. The Raiders opened their 2025 campaign with a gritty 20-13 victory over the New England Patriots inside Gillette Stadium, a statement win that instantly made people forget last season's struggles. Remember, this is a team that only scraped together 4 wins the entire previous year. But while the scoreboard showed progress, the game itself told an even bigger story. Geno Smith had his shaky moments, including a costly interception early on that gave the Patriots hope. Yet the momentum shifted in dramatic fashion during the second half, when rookie quarterback Drake May tried to force a pass under pressure from Max Crosby. The ball hung in the air just long enough for safety Isaiah Pola-Mao to snatch it and flip the game on its head. The interception completely flipped the script. With the ball back in their hands, the Raiders wasted no time making it count. Rookie sensation Ashton Janney found the end zone for his very first career touchdown, a moment that didn't just give the Raiders the lead, it stamped their authority on the game. From that point forward, Las Vegas dictated the pace, never letting New England wrestle control back. One of the biggest storylines? Jakobi Meyers. Facing the very team that once let him go, Meyers delivered a performance that felt personal. 8 catches, 95 yards. Every time Geno Smith needed a spark, Meyers was there, stretching the field, moving the chains, and reminding the Patriots of what they'd lost. For a player gambling on himself in a contract year, this was the type of statement game that could shape his entire future with the franchise. But while the Raiders celebrated their progress, there was a glaring shadow hanging over the victory: pass protection. Geno Smith spent far too much time running for his life, and the Patriots' defensive front made him pay, snagging 4 interceptions. Harold Landry III, in particular, was a nightmare in the trenches, racking up 2.5 sacks and leaving the Raiders' offensive line with a lot of soul-searching to do. Yes, the win was sweet. Yes, the energy around Pete Carroll's debut is electric. But if this team wants to keep momentum rolling, fixing the breakdowns in the pocket has to be priority number 1 before the upcoming clash with the Los Angeles Chargers. If the win in Foxboro gave Raider Nation reason to celebrate, the joy was quickly tempered by a heart-stopping moment involving one of the team's brightest young stars. In the middle of the third quarter, just after hauling in a spectacular 38-yard catch, tight end Brock Bowers suddenly came up limping. The stadium buzz turned from excitement to silence in seconds, and every set of silver and black eyes was locked on him. Bowers had been one of the standouts of the game to that point. Explosive, reliable, and every bit the weapon fans had been promised. But when he hobbled toward the sideline, clutching at his knee, you could feel the anxiety ripple not just through the fans in Gillette Stadium, but all the way back home in Las Vegas. Coach Pete Carroll later revealed that Bowers actually pleaded to go back into the fight. That's the competitor he is. But Carroll and the medical staff refused to gamble with his health. They made the cautious call, sending him to the medical tent for immediate evaluation while the game marched on. The good news? By the time the dust settled, the early reports weren't nearly as grim as everyone feared. Bowers himself reassured that he felt fine, and while he remained carefully limited on the sidelines, the initial outlook suggested no long-term damage. Still, with the Chargers looming next week, the clock is ticking. Raider Nation will be holding its breath until they see number 19 back on the field, ready to prove why he's one of the most anticipated rookies in the entire league. Before that scare, Brock Bowers was putting on a showcase that reminded everyone exactly why he's considered one of the most dangerous young weapons in football. In just over 2 quarters, the 22-year-old tight end had already hauled in 5 catches for 103 yards, torching the Patriots' defense and setting the tone for the Raiders' passing attack. This is the same player who, as a rookie in 2024, rewrote the record books, snagging 112 receptions, the most ever by a tight end in NFL history, piling up nearly 1,200 yards and 5 touchdowns. That kind of production doesn't just make you a rising star. it makes you the foundation of an entire offense. And by the looks of it, year 2 was already shaping up to be even bigger. That's why his knee injury casts such a long shadow. For Las Vegas, Bowers isn't just another pass catcher. He's the red zone nightmare, the chain mover, the safety blanket for Geno Smith when the pocket collapses. Without him, this Raiders offense looks very different. But there is one silver lining. The schedule gifts the Raiders an extra week of rest before their Monday night showdown against the Los Angeles Chargers. That window could be just enough for Bowers to heal up and rejoin the lineup at full strength. If he's ready, the partnership between Smith and Bowers has the potential to be flat-out explosive in 2025. Fans have already seen glimpses of their chemistry, quick reads, deep shots, and the kind of trust that can turn close games into statement wins. For now, Raider Nation waits, hoping that their young star's resilience and the staff's careful handling will lead to a comeback worthy of the hype. Because one thing's certain, the story of the Raiders season can't truly be written without Brock Bowers. With a rising star like Brock Bowers, the Raiders' future feels loaded with promise. The hope is simple, that his story keeps climbing without interruption, and his talent continues to push this team closer to its ultimate goals. But just as Raider Nation was catching its breath after the injury scare, another voice from the team's past stepped into the spotlight, and he didn't hold back. Former head coach Antonio Pierce, now wearing the hat of a CBS sports analyst, chose the Raiders' Week 1 matchup as the perfect moment to speak his mind. And his comments? Direct, unapologetic, and impossible to ignore. Pierce, who carried the heavy burden of leading Las Vegas through a rocky 2024 season, was replaced by Pete Carroll in the offseason. Yet instead of bitterness, his words carried an unexpected mix of honesty and admiration. The Raiders need consistency in building their future, Pierce said firmly. Having seen firsthand the chaos of short-term fixes, Pierce stressed that stability and leadership were the missing pieces, and in his eyes, Carroll is the man to finally provide them. He even went a step further, praising Carroll's ability to attract and maximize talent, pointing directly to quarterback Geno Smith as a difference-maker. To Pierce, Smith isn't just another acquisition. He could be the key to unlocking the Raiders' full potential in 2025. That was Antonio Pierce's take on Geno Smith, and it's hard to argue with him. A quarterback you can believe in changes everything, not just the game plan, but the entire mentality of a team. With Smith under center, the Raiders don't just gain a passer, they gain a leader, someone who can rally the locker room and tilt the momentum of a season. Pierce also highlighted another critical factor, the partnership between Pete Carroll and general manager John Spitek. For years, the Raiders struggled with disconnect between the sidelines and the front office. Now, there's alignment. There's a vision. And that unity, Pierce believes, could be the secret ingredient to finally building a championship-caliber franchise in Las Vegas. His words carry weight. This is a team that, not long ago, felt adrift, cycling through instability, short-term fixes, and lost opportunities. But the season opener hinted at something different. The Raiders looked sharper, hungrier, more focused. It felt like the early chapters of a new story being written. Of course, questions remain. Can the team maintain this momentum through the grind of the season? Will the offense still soar if Brock Bowers misses extended time? And most importantly, can Carroll provide the consistency Pierce insists is the key to long-term success? For now, Raider Nation dares to dream. The foundation looks stronger than it has in years, the leadership feels steady, and the future, though uncertain, has never looked more exciting. The 2025 journey is only beginning, and all eyes are on Las Vegas to see just how far this team can go.